So I was reading on another forum, somebody was asking why people with depression don't usually share with family or friends. The biggest reason is that we don't feel comfortable with being judged. When a family member first finds out that someone has depression, it's more, oh, why don't you do this? And you'd be so much better if you did this. Or, oh, well, at least you don't have this. That's not something that we want to hear. In fact, it's one of the worst things that you can actually say to someone with depression. Look, the thing is, when we're going through it, we get tired of it. We get sick of feeling the same thing or hearing ourselves say the same thing over and over again. And so we understand that family members get tired of the whole problem and, tired of seeing the person feeling so down and what have you. But it's this feeling that they don't really understand what we're going through. And by saying, well, at least you don't have, say, cancer, that's actually saying that your feelings aren't valid. And I'm not saying that we're being selfish by saying that we don't want to hear about other people's illnesses and that, we're really more concerned with what we're going through. It's just the fact that we can only feel what we're feeling, and for someone to say, well, look on the bright side, you don't have cancer, that's actually saying to you that we don't really care about what you're going through. It's more about what someone else is going through. Another reason that people just don't want to share is just simply you can't really sympathise because you don't understand it. It is that lack of understanding that often is quite a barrier to getting the help that we need. So, I understand that it is hard for families to watch someone go through so much pain. But the thing is, there are some people who believe that emotional pain doesn't exist and that physical pain is actually worse. It's like saying that someone who's been through abuse, that, someone who's been beaten up by their partner or a family member or whatever, that what they've gone through is worse than someone who has just been through emotional abuse, who's basically has been pushed down mentally and emotionally by someone that they trusted. And so, manipulation is not as bad as being beaten up. I'm not saying either one is worse. What I'm saying is that they are on an equal par. So what one person experiences doesn't mean that that's any worse than what someone else is experiencing, just because the two experiences are different. Another thing that came up in this forum is, can you self-diagnose? Well, you can suspect you have depression. It's always best to actually talk to a professional. Self-diagnosing is like going to the internet and looking up various symptoms that you have and going, oh yeah, my symptoms match this, so I guess I have this. Well, that's actually quite dangerous. The internet is a great resource. It's good for doing research, but when it comes to things like that, it's wholly subjective. And if you are not an expert, if you're not a psychologist or if you're not a doctor, then you need to actually talk to a professional. I mean, some of them, they can only really go by tests, and I'm not talking about blood tests or anything like that. With depression, it isn't really detectable by blood tests or what's called the biomedical model. The only way you can actually find out about depression is by talking to the patient and really understanding what is happening in their life. So if you suspect that a family member has depression, or if you suspect you've got depression yourself, yes, do the online tests, but then go see a professional and get it confirmed. Don't just assume that what's actually come up in the test is right. I mean, the doctor can actually look at the results of that test and they can, agree or not agree. But it is important that you actually talk to your doctor. And that's pretty much what I wanted to discuss this week. Thanks.